Going through a divorce is, well, it's incredibly tough. And when you've got a shared home in the mix, things get even more complicated. You need clear financial answers, right? So today, we're going to tackle a huge question for anyone in this spot in Buffalo. What exactly are you going to pay for a divorce appraisal? Let's get right to it.
You don't need a vague, it depends. You need a real number so you can plan, so you can figure out your next steps. So let's just cut to the chase and give you that number right now.
And there it is, $625. For 2026, that is the baseline cost for a divorce appraisal on a single-family home in Buffalo. This is your starting point. It's the number you can anchor your budget around. But where does this number actually come from? Is it just pulled out of thin air?
Nope, not at all. That $625 isn't just some random number. It's actually grounded in an official, really reliable source that ensures fairness, not just here in Buffalo, but all across New York State.
It actually comes directly from the Department of Veterans Affairs fee schedule for New York. Now you might be thinking, the VA? What does that have to do with my divorce? Well, over the years, this schedule has become the gold standard for any kind of legally required appraisal because it's so fair and consistent. It's what brings predictable pricing to Erie County.
So how does Buffalo's number stack up with the rest of the country? Well, nationally, the average can swing anywhere from about $400 to $700. That puts Buffalo's $625 baseline right in that moderate sweet spot. It's confirmation that you're in a pretty reasonably priced market for this kind of service.
Of course, that $625 is the baseline, right? That's for a pretty standard single-family home. But let's be real, life and real estate, they're rarely that simple. There are a few key things that can definitely adjust that price upward.
Okay, so the official fee schedule itself shows us the first reason the price might change, the type of property you have. A single-family home or a condo, that's your $625 baseline. If you've got a manufactured home, it's a little more complex, so that bumps the cost to $675. And if we're talking about a multifamily property, say a duplex or a fourplex, that's a lot more work, and the cost jumps to $825.
And it doesn't stop there. Other things definitely come into play. A really large or architecturally unique home, that's going to take more time to evaluate. Same goes for a high-end luxury property with all the bells and whistles. If your home is out in a remote rural area, that might cost more just because of travel and finding comparable sales. And here's a big one. In a contested divorce where both sides hire their own appraisers, well, you're pretty much doubling the cost right there.
So why does this specific type of appraisal cost what it does? It's because a divorce appraisal is a completely different beast from the one you get when you're buying a house or refinancing. It serves a really different and legally critical purpose.
Let's break down the key difference here. A standard appraisal, which in Buffalo averages under $300, that's for a lender. It's for their protection. But a divorce appraisal, at that $625 baseline, that's for the court. It has to be legally defensible. It has to stand up to scrutiny to make sure the assets are divided fairly. The level of detail required is, well, it's on another level entirely.
And this is the key. A divorce appraisal absolutely must be USPAP compliant. Just think of USPAP as the official federal rulebook for appraisers. It's a set of standards that guarantees the valuation is unbiased, meticulously researched, and can withstand any challenges in a courtroom. So you're not just paying for a number, you're paying for legal and ethical certainty.
Now, it's really important to see how this appraisal fee fits into the bigger picture. It doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's just one part of a much larger financial puzzle that you're going to have to solve during this process.
And just to give you some context, here's a little snapshot of the Buffalo market itself in early 2026. With a median sale price of over $250,000, you can see exactly why getting an accurate valuation on your home is so critical. There's a lot of equity on the line here.
And remember, the appraisal is just one expense. You also need to budget for what can be pretty significant attorney fees, the court filing fees, and maybe even mediation sessions. Seeing it all together like this just helps you build a much more realistic financial plan.
These numbers, wow, they really put it all into perspective, don't they? The financial difference between an uncontested and a contested divorce is just enormous. And honestly, an accurate, unbiased appraisal can sometimes be the very thing that helps you avoid a costly, drawn-out dispute over the house, potentially saving you thousands in the long run.
Okay, so knowing the cost and knowing the stakes, how do you make sure you hire the right person for this incredibly important job? What's your path forward?
It really comes down to these three simple but absolutely crucial steps. First, make sure they have specific experience with divorce appraisals. This is a specialty, not just general appraisal work. Second, they have to know the local Buffalo and Western New York market inside and out.
And third, and this one is non-negotiable, they have to be a neutral third party that both you and your spouse can trust and agree on. And how long is this all going to take? Well, from the moment the appraiser does the initial inspection to you getting that final court-ready report in your hands, you should plan for about 10 business days. This is the standard turnaround time, also set by that VA schedule, so it's a really reliable time frame for planning your next legal steps.
When you boil it all down, it really comes to this. A fair appraisal is the foundation for a fair settlement. That's what a good appraisal gives you. It's not just another bill you have to pay. It's an investment in a credible, factual starting point for everyone. And that foundation, that's what allows for a smoother, more equitable outcome for everybody involved.
So as you start to plan your next moves, it's really worth asking yourself this. In a process that's just filled with so much emotional and financial complexity, could investing in getting this one number right from the very beginning be the single most important first step you can take toward a fair and final resolution?